The spotlight is on Ferrari, and the pressure couldn't be higher. With a major upgrade package finally arriving in Austria, everyone's wondering if this could finally patch the problems that have held the SF25 back since the season opener in Australia. The car has shown signs of promise, but also frustrating inconsistency, and now, after weeks of anticipation, all eyes are on whether this overhaul will bring real performance gains or just more disappointment. Ferrari hasn't had it easy. The SF25 has been anything but cooperative, posing difficulties for both drivers and the engineering squad working tirelessly at the factory in Maranello. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton have been vocal about the car's limitations, constantly pushing for answers. However, it appears those concerns have often gone unheard. Fred Vasseur, the team boss, has insisted time and again that the car doesn't need new parts, it just needs a better understanding of its behavior on track. But let's face it, the results say otherwise. In Canada, Hamilton didn't hold back. He admitted that Ferrari has simply fallen behind in the development race. That's why this next event in Austria matters so much. It could be the turning point. Although early signs suggested that the upgrade would be split between two races, and Silverstone insiders close to the team say otherwise. Ferrari is going Ellen, rolling out the full update in Austria itself. These changes focus on two critical components, the floor and the rear suspension. Fixing these could unlock better handling and allow drivers to fully extract performance. From the SF25, Vasseur confirmed the updates and issued a bold statement: this isn't the end. The team intends to assess results closely over the next few races before deciding whether to pour more energy into the current car or shift everything toward the 2026 project. One of the most telling signs of Ferrari's strategy shift lies in how they're handling their resources. With the wind tunnel now primarily assigned to development for 2026, it's clear that the championship battle for this season isn't their top priority. But even so, there's still a window of opportunity. With several drivers from different teams regularly taking points off each other, the standings remain unpredictable. That alone gives Ferrari a reason to stay in the fight, at least for now. Vasseur explained that although more upgrades are coming before the British Grand Prix, what really matters is not just adding new parts, but making the most out of the current package. According to him, there's more value in execution than in theoretical potential. We're at the closing stages of this regulatory era, and now even the smallest improvements, fractions of a second, can mean the difference between a front-row start and mid-grid frustration. Contrary to what many believed, Ferrari hasn't completely given up on 2025. In fact, they've begun a more hands-on phase of refining the car, not just on track, but also using simulation tools. The upcoming races will be a real test of how serious they are about squeezing every bit of performance from the SF25 before shelving it for good. One of the key weaknesses Ferrari needs to fix is how the car performs during qualifying. While the SF25 has shown competitive speed over longer stints, that pace is often wasted trying to recover from poor grid positions. This puts additional pressure on strategy and exposes the drivers to mid-pack chaos. If Leclerc and Hamilton can start higher up the order, their results could look very different. That's why Austria is being treated with such importance. The engineers have one main objective: give the drivers a car that doesn't force them into using fuel-saving techniques like lifting off early before braking zones, especially when the car should be performing at its best. Drivers lose valuable time doing this, and it's no surprise they've been growing more frustrated with each race. As we look ahead to Austria, the pressure isn't just on the car, it's also on the rear suspension. Upgrade Ferrari has been developing for weeks. According to reporting from Auto Action, this might be the final attempt to improve the SF25's structure. If these changes don't make a noticeable difference, the team is expected to switch its focus entirely to 2026. This would mean using whatever they learn from this season to help shape a more competitive machine for the future. The biggest concern right now centers around how the rear of the car behaves, particularly in connection with the gearbox. The front of the SF25 has been praised, showing decent stability and sharpness, but the back end, especially during corner exits, remains unpredictable and difficult to manage. This is where most of the current performance loss is happening. Charles Leclerc hasn't been shy about calling out these issues. His remarks have been firm and honest. He's made it clear that no one on the team is happy with where things stand. Going into this season, they believed they had a real shot at challenging McLaren and Red Bull, but that hope has quickly faded. McLaren has taken massive strides forward and left Ferrari trying to catch up. While Ferrari isn't performing terribly compared to everyone else, they're still falling short of where they expected to be. Interestingly, Leclerc and Hamilton seem to have slightly different views on the car's potential before each race weekend. Leclerc appears to have lost some faith in the development path. On the other hand, Hamilton sounds more optimistic, even hinting that Austria could surprise everyone. He's still adjusting to the car, but he believes there's something positive to build on. Hamilton also opened up about what's been hardest for him so far, getting used to how the car responds in certain corners. Montreal was a prime example. He said he's never struggled so much with understeer at low speed. The car simply wouldn't rotate the way he wanted through turn 2 and turn 10. That race weekend clearly wasn't one of his favorites, but he remains hopeful that Austria could go better, especially with more high-speed sections, which suit the SF25 a bit more. Even with all the focus shifting to 2026, Ferrari isn't entirely checking out of the current season. The ongoing work on their upcoming car involves major changes, everything from chassis design to aerodynamic layout and engine. Performance is being rethought. Their aim is to create a solid base to work from, one that can support long-term improvement rather than just quick fixes. Back in June, Ferrari began testing parts for their future car, signaling just how serious they are about starting strong when the new regulations arrive. But make no mistake, the competition won't be waiting. Mercedes, for example, is making bold moves with its own power unit, and many in the paddock think they've got a slight advantage in the engine department. While Ferrari has a solid history of building fast cars, they know that won't be enough this time around. This could also explain why Hamilton keeps emphasizing the importance of thinking ahead. With only 79 points to his name and Leclerc sitting at 104, the driver's title looks far out of reach. Realistically, the team's best shot might be second place in the constructors' standings, but even that won't come easy, not with Mercedes charging forward and showing real progress. So the pressure on Ferrari isn't just about lap times, it's about proving they've still got the structure to compete with the top teams. Inside the organization, there's increasing pressure on Fred Vasseur too. His future has come under the microscope as results have fallen short of expectations from senior figures like Benedetto, Vigna, and John Elk. But Vasseur isn't sitting quietly. He's been holding regular one-on-one conversations with Hamilton, urging him not to mentally check out of this season just yet. It seems Vasseur understands that Hamilton's experience could still play a big role in helping shape next year's challenger. By keeping Hamilton engaged, Ferrari hopes to collect as much feedback as possible from these remaining races. That knowledge might not help win a title this year, but it could give them the head start they need when the 2026 reset begins. And in a tightly packed field, that kind of preparation could be the deciding factor. In such a tightly contested grid, the role of the driver becomes even more crucial. And when you look at the names Ferrari has behind the wheel, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, it's hard to ignore the sheer weight of talent in that garage. Statistically speaking, they form the most experienced and successful pairing in the current field, and alone keeps Ferrari in the conversation, no matter how inconsistent the car has been. This is why it's far too early to write them off. Yes, the SF25 hasn't lived up to early expectations. Yes, they've been outpaced by McLaren's unexpected leap forward and Mercedes' steady climb. But motorsport isn't always about instant dominance. Sometimes it's about learning through setbacks and taking those lessons forward. Ferrari's technical staff, along with the drivers, now face a delicate balancing act. They must extract every ounce of performance from a car whose development window is closing, while also shaping a brand new contender for a different era of Formula One. It's a difficult position to be in, still needing results now, but knowing that the real battle is just around the corner. Whether the upgrades debuting in Austria provide that missing edge or not, they represent something more important. Ferrari is still trying. They're not throwing in the towel. They're trying to understand what works, what doesn't, and how to correct course before the next generation of rules reshapes the entire playing field. The real test will come not just in lap times, but in decisions. Will they stick with this year's car until the very last race? Or will they decide that the long game is more valuable than a short-term push? Only time will answer that. But one thing's clear, when you've got Hamilton's determination and Leclerc's hunger, no race is ever just another weekend. Every lap counts. Every upgrade matters. And whether it's for 25 points or 2026 progress, Ferrari still has reasons to push forward. Now, the spotlight shifts to Austria. A fresh round, a new challenge, and maybe, just maybe, a turning point.